How's it going, guys? This is Soul Singed here, and the 2023 Double XL freshman class has been revealed, and let's get into it. Now, first of all, a lot of people are hating on it, but honestly, it doesn't matter if the list is good or bad anymore. People are going to hate on it regardless. I think it's an okay list. I actually think it's pretty solid. But before I get into talking about each rapper on the list, I just really quickly want to go over some rappers that aren't on here and why they're not on here. Now, before you start putting all the blame on Double XL, you have to remember that a lot of rappers just straight up decline the list. A lot of rappers will just straight up not accept their invite, whether it be them not wanting to do Double XL or scheduling. For example, Ice Spice, who a lot of people thought would be on this cover, wasn't able to make it because of scheduling issues. She was invited, she was accepted, but she had to decline it due to her schedule. Another couple rappers that a lot of people wanted to see on here is Ken Carson and Destroy Lonely. And Destroy Lonely, Ken Carson supposedly got accepted last year but declined it because he said he wouldn't do it if they didn't do Destroy Lonely. So I figured we'd either get both of them or neither of them. I don't know if Double XL reached out to them or not, but they probably just straight up declined it because that's kind of the way they move. Same with Yeet. Yeet turned down a Rolling Loud invite. You really think Yeet is going to pull up to Double XL? So yeah, those are a few of the bigger names that weren't on the list that a lot of people wanted to see. Another one is the New York drill rappers, and I feel like they were mainly avoided due to controversies and the fact that every New York drill rapper seems to have beef with each other. So it would just make it kind of hard to pick multiple drill rappers because you'd have to make sure you find ones that aren't beefing with each other. So that's probably why Double XL just steered clear of that whole subgenre. So going over, we have Tia Corine. Now, a lot of people don't know who Tia Corine is. She's actually been around for a few years now, and she's the kind of rapper that'll start to get some buzz, start to blow up, then kind of die off. Start to blow up, die off. You know, very fluctuated. But this past year, she had one of her biggest singles, and I think she's a pretty good I think she's pretty decent. I don't think she's anything too crazy, but she's definitely got her own style, got her own vibe going on. So, she's one of the ones that I predicted making it if one of the big female rappers didn't. Next is Too Rare. Pretty solid choice in my opinion. He's got a bunch of TikTok hits coming with that Jersey club type sound, and does work with some pretty big names in the industry. So yeah, solid pick. Next we got Finesse 2 Times, a rapper out of Memphis. Really dope rapper. I really fuck with his music, and he's one of the biggest rappers out of Memphis, and the Memphis scene keeps putting out a lot of really talented rappers. 2021 we had Pooh Shiesty. Last year we had Big 30 and Big Scar. This year we got Finesse 2 Times. So yeah, the Memphis scene is really starting to bubble up and put out a lot of amazing talent. And yeah, I'm very pleased to see Finesse 2 Times on the list. Next we got DC the Don, who was apparently the voted 10th spot. This one I feel conflicted on, because on the one hand, I'm glad to see him on the list because a lot of people rock with DC. A lot of people have been wanting to see DC the Don on the list for years at this point. And they are so glad. I've seen so many people saying, I don't even care about the rest of the list. I'm just glad DC the Don made it. But on the other hand, motherfucker's a fifth year senior. Because I know for a fact this guy's been trying to get on the freshman list for 4 or 5 years now. I think he pitched back in 2019. And he's been the type of rapper to have a really hardcore, really solid fan base, but just never got that push to the next level, never got that push to mainstream, and this could very well be that push. He definitely has the fan base backing him. Next up is Rob 49, and he's from my home state, city of New Orleans, so I can't hate on him. But he's another solid pick because while he may be one of the smaller rappers on here, he's got a lot of industry love and he's worked with quite a few big names. He was on Lil Durk's album, so he's definitely getting some industry connections and getting some big features. Next up, we got La Tyler. I feel like he was pretty much a lock for this list. Didn't really know much about him till a couple months ago, but bro's been blowing up like crazy. Again, he's also gotten some pretty big features and has become one of the most talked about rappers in the last year. Next up, we got Friday, who is much more of an R&B artist and one of the smallest artists on here. I had honestly not really heard of him prior to him appearing on the XXL list. I've checked out a couple of his songs. He definitely has his own style and a very unique sound. I personally don't like it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I personally don't like it, but he definitely sticks out and I could see why people would gravitate to his music. And next up we got Glorilla. No brainer. One of the hottest female rappers to come out of the last year. Also representing Memphis, so she's quickly becoming one of my favorite female rappers. I really fuck with her sound. I really fuck with her style. I really fuck with her music. And yeah, super happy to see her make the list. Next, we got Lola Brooke, who I wasn't familiar with prior to the XXL list. But she's doing some pretty solid numbers and getting some clout. So I think she's a solid choice. Next, we have Sleazy World Go. Again, not super familiar with him, but he's had some big features and seems to be making his way up. Real Boston Richie, same case. Central C. Now, this is an interesting one because Central C is a drill rapper out of London. And he's one of the biggest rappers in the UK. And a lot of people didn't really think he should be on the list because he's too big. However, you have to consider XXL is American and its primary audience is American. And XXL doesn't really pick too many foreign freshmen. I think the last UK freshman was Stefflon Don back in 2018. And I think Central C is a solid pick because he's still new and fresh to the American audience. Because it was really only the last year and a half, give or take, that he really started taking off with American audiences. So I think he's a pretty solid list. I mean, a solid pick. But yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty solid list. I definitely feel like this has potential to be one of the better freshman classes, depending on how these guys move. But just based off of their trajectories and how they're doing right now, I could definitely see some of these guys really taking off and being some of the next big names in hip-hop if they play their cards right. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I do want to say I plan on making more XXL videos, not just covering the freestyles and ciphers, but just covering the freshman class in general. Because there's a few interesting things that I want to talk about regarding the XXL freshman list in general. So yeah, that's probably what the next 4 to 5 videos will be about. I'm going to try to do reactions to the freestyles and ciphers. Not sure if I'll be able to, just due to like time and scheduling and all that. But we'll see. Anyway, that wraps up this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.